No Film School's coverage of NAB is brought to you by Shutterstock, your source for stunning HD and 4K footage, plus high-quality music. Blackmagic Design, amazing solutions for film, post-production, and television. My Road Reel, the world's largest short film competition, is back.
Hey guys, this is Andy with No Film School. We're here with Matthew, who is a Panasonic rep. What's up?
Oh, not much. Thank you very much for coming to the booth. So last year at NAB, we announced a new mode called an Anamorphic mode. The challenge with the Anamorphic mode was that it was a little ahead of where optics were because you'd have to go and purchase or rent very expensive PL mount lenses. Recently, SLR Magic announced some anamorphic lenses that were native mount to micro four thirds. So we're actually showing two different focal lengths in the booth right now. This is a 35mm 2x anamorphic lens, mounts natively right to the camera. And then we're also showcasing a 50mm as well. So people now have some tools available that are at a much more affordable price point. Lenses vary between $2,500 to $3,000, or you can purchase them in a kit together for $8,500. It includes a nice Pelican case as well.
I've actually worked with some of SLR Magic's anamorphics, and I know that usually they sell an SLR 2x anamorphic that goes on the front of lenses, and then they just started selling the rangefinder, which goes on the front. Is this basically all of those lenses combined into one sort of body?
That would be a good way to look at it. So you would have their 35mm t2.4. You would then have an anamorphic element, which is up front, and then yes, this is the rangefinder, but it's all put together in one lens. And I would say it's a little simplified to say that it's all just kind of smashed together. There are elements inside this lens that are helping to exaggerate the oval look that you get from the defocused areas as well. So there's oval-shaped elements in the lens, as was explained to me by SLR Magic.
I've been using the anamorphic mode on the GH4, and I actually had a question about the HDMI output for that, because I know that the anamorphic mode is outside of the spec of HDMI, so you can't actually record externally with the anamorphic mode. Is that right?
No, you can absolutely record externally with external recorders, and I would highly recommend people do that versus using the internal. The way that you need to do this is pretty unique. You have to go into the camera's HDMI output settings. You have to change it to 10-bit. If you change it to 10-bit, that's going to defeat the internal recording on the camera, but it will allow you to output an image over HDMI. It's conformed to the HDMI spec, so you end up with a 2880 wide by 2160 tall image. It's the same resolution as the Arri Alexa XT if you shot in Arri RAW, so you have the same basic resolution as Arri RAW for the XT. And then all you need to do is bring it into your editing suite. You're going to see pillar boxed bars on the left and right of the image, so you'll just need to eliminate the pillar boxed bars. I think the biggest challenge is that the camera doesn't give you the ability to de-squeeze in the camera, so having the ability to output to an external recorder, even though you're costing yourself just a little bit of resolution, is well worth the investment because you can actually see what you're shooting, have it properly conformed.
So is there anything you can tell us about the future roadmap for the GH series?
At this time, we're not really announcing any changes to the GH4. I think it's important for your viewers out there to realize a few things. We announced the camera at NAB, or just before NAB, about 3 years ago. This is the third NAB we've shown it at. In its roadmap, it started out with a really good 4K codec, the ability to be able to record 4K at a price point that nobody else is able to do. And over the past 3 NABs, we have announced a whole slew of firmware updates that have expanded the functionality of the product without forcing people to have to go out and completely rebuy the camera. So it's taken a very long time for us to come up with technologies that we feel would be worthwhile charging people for as a product update. So I can promise you this, whenever we do a replacement for the GH4, it is going to be a substantial difference from what you're shooting with now.
And you can't comment on any sort of timeline for when that replacement would come?
I wish I could. I wish I knew. They know I would tell all of you, and that's the problem, is I would give it all away. So they're not telling us anything at this point.